In today's video, I'm going to be carrying out a full service on this Audi A3 1.6 TDI. So before we get on with the job, here are the parts. I've got the Quantum Longlife 3 5W30 oil. This car takes 4.3 litres apparently. Genuine Volkswagen Audi oil filter, and also a sump plug. As I asked for the washer, but I don't think you get the washer by itself, it comes with the plug. Got a Mahle, however you pronounce that, fuel filter, and then right here I've got a Bosch air filter and pollen filter. I paid a little bit extra for the activated charcoal, carbon, whatever it is, in the pollen filter. So the pollen filters on these live up under the dashboard here on the passenger side on a right-hand drive car. And just under here is a kind of foam polystyrene cover which needs to be removed. There are a couple of kind of plastic bolts which we unscrew, which then allows this foam cover to be removed. This reveals the cover, which needs to be pulled to the left and removed. So it slots to the left and then it's removed. I'm already getting the idea that this might be in a bad condition. I'm now going to remove the pollen filter. I've seen worse, but it needs doing. And just the old versus new, they're dimensionally the same. Now the new one just simply slots back in. It can only actually go one way. There are some cutouts that ensure that that's the case. And then refit this cover and slot it to the right. These little lugs here actually locate through the holes in the filter. These holes here. It's actually easier to place this into the slots, push it up and then push it to the right and it locks into position. It's just a case of refitting this and these two screws. So I'm going to be changing the engine oil, the air filter, oil filter under here, and also this fuel filter. These covers just pull off. The oil filter is located right here. We can get much easier access to this by removing this Torx screw here and getting this out of the way. This screw is a T30. And we simply lift this out of the way, giving us access to filter. To remove the filter, you need a 32mm socket and an extension, and the plastic cap can be loosened. You can now remove filter complete with element. I like to use an old filter. Let's put that down on because it's quite absorbent. Using my pillar pump, I like to draw as much of the old oil out here as I can, because there is quite a bit remaining. Under the car now, it's just a case of removing this under tray. So it's just a case of removing these T25 screws at the sides here, and there are 3 at the back of the under tray. They're actually T30. Once these have all been removed, the under tray drops down and then just can be pushed back and removed. Okay, so make sure we've got a container under the car that can handle around 4.5 litres of oil. I'm using a 19mm spanner. Loosen the sump drain plug. And there it goes, draining nicely. We'll let that do its thing for a while. Here I'm removing the old filter, and then there are some O-rings. There's 3, one here, and one here, obviously all different sizes. Start with the large one. And then the smallest one at the end here. That's the 3. I'll give this a clean out with some brake cleaner. This is now all clean, ready for the new O-rings. And here's the new filter. With a pack of O-rings. Get that into the groove. Think Madonna. And the smaller ones, get those into position. When it's this cold, anything made of rubber is really quite tough. It is sub-zero today in sunny Britain, and my hands won't even cooperate because it's so cold. Finally, they're all on there. Let's compare filters, old versus new. Same kind of depth, slightly different design there. Not sure what brand this one is, but this is the genuine one. When you look carefully, it's hard to see because it's in yellow writing, but it does actually say top here. And refit. Into place. This can now be refitted. This should be torqued to 25 Newton meters. It's only plastic, so I've just nipped it up. My 1/2-inch drive torque wrench doesn't go down to 25, it starts at about 30, so I can't really use that. And just refit this. Refitting the new sump plug. Try not to drop it in the vat of oil. And tighten using the 19mm spanner. Nasty. I'm taking this off for cleaning because that's pretty grubby. And now time to refill with 4.3 litres of oil. Moving on to the air filter now, there are just a series of Phillips screws around the outer perimeter. So we undo those. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8 screws in total. And there we go, that just lifts away, revealing what looks like quite a new air filter element. Let's have a closer look. Does look fairly new actually, but I will change it. I'm also going to hoover out this airbox in here because there's quite a bit of stuff in here, leaves and bits like that. A lot of places would just throw the new one in and they'd leave that. As you'll see, there's this removable inner tray, which means you can access below it. That's where there were some leaves and bits. And that just goes back in. It's on a couple of little dowels, so it's in the right place. And here's the new filter. Make sure it's seated correctly. Refit the cover. And do up the 8 screws. And last of all, the fuel filter. You need to undo these T20 bolts. Five of them. and this needs to be eased off, possibly with a little screwdriver in that recess there. There we go, a little stubby, flat bladed, right in there, and just gently lever. I don't want to disfigure or distort this in any way. There we go. Saw a little bit of diesel spill out there, and there we go, right in there. Lurking in that diesel will be the filter. Need to sort of move this out the way, I bet, the best I can, and then hook that filter out with a pick or a screwdriver of some description. And replace the seal around the perimeter of this as well, and that will come in the kit with the fuel filter. And here is the filter. I'm going to let that drain down a bit. And place some cloth over there so no dirt goes in there while I remove this seal. This is the new seal from the kit. I'm just going to wipe around the perimeter of that. I've compared old versus new off camera, and this is fine. Made in Austria, isn't that reassuring? I'm just going to make sure there's a little bit of diesel around this, because I want that seal to slide into place and not snag in any way. And we drop the filter in there. Allow it to soak up the diesel. And then very carefully refit this, as I say, taking care that the seal doesn't snag or it will leak. Gently easing it down all the way around until it can go no further, and then it's in place. We'll now refit these 5 little bolts. They're very small, so we definitely don't want to over tighten them, because if we strip the threads on these, well, it'd be bloody annoying. You'd have to end up with a nut and bolt arrangement. And then just nip these up very slightly. There we are. Oil and filter, air filter, fuel filter and pollen filter replaced. Time to start it up. So now it's just a case of resetting the service indicator. All done. I'm pleased to say that the service is all done. Service indicator has been reset, just taking it out for a test drive just to make sure everything's okay, and it's driving beautifully. Next to do on this car will be the front brake pads and discs and that offside front wheel bearing that I mentioned in my introduction video. And I need to really deep clean the interior of this car. When the weather's warmer, I'll take care of the seats, but in the meantime I will need to clean all the switchgear and all the contact points within this car, because it's just a bit sticky and a bit horrible, and then it will be how I like it. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Lots more content to come on this car, lots planned for it. I'll see you in another video very soon. Thank you and goodbye.